Hi, guess who's back? Yeah, so I'd taken a break for the month of September just because I needed to take time to see if I was still feeling like I'm being authentic in this YouTube journey and just feel into what I wanted to talk about next. So what I do usually is I will record like a bunch of videos over a few days and then like release them slowly weekly. So the last time I did like a bunch of videos and I think I did maybe like 6 videos in advance or something like that. And by the time I was watching back some of those videos, I was like, oh my gosh, I am in a completely different place than I was when I recorded it, which I guess is just the theme of 2019. This has felt like such a transformational year. Like I can't even believe the amount of changes that have happened in my life internally and externally. Like it's been such I feel like I've been 15 different people. And I'm curious to see what that, because I feel like a lot of people have been saying that about 2019. And when there's like a collective agreement on something, I feel like it means that something is happening, like something bigger. And I wonder what we're being prepared for or what's about to unfold for us. Yeah, so I hope you've been well. Feels good to be back. I love doing these videos. So, this video I wanted to talk about morality versus integrity. The reason why I want to do this video is because I've been thinking a lot about morality. I had posted something on Twitter, and the conversation that came up was interesting because some people called me. So I was talking about casual sex and how it's not something that's really fulfilling me anymore. And I want to do a separate video about that. But when I posted this on Twitter, some people came out and called me a whore. And like, have I seen that word right? Whore. But I felt, I mean, I have no issue with somebody calling me that. In terms of like, for me, it's not something that brings me shame. I have been very vocal about the fact that I like sex. I love it. Actually, I enjoy it. And I went through a season because if you've been watching my videos for a while, then you know that I broke up with someone 2 years ago. So like the first year was mainly just for like healing and like coming back to myself and just taking time out. Even though I was kind of seeing people, but not very like it was very light nothingness. But the second year, I was open to exploring because I mean I had the opportunity to, and I just felt like I wasn't fully ready to give my heart into a relationship, but I was interested in exploring my attraction to different people, and I tried polyamory for a little while. I did a bunch of things, and and it was fun. Like I learned so much about myself. But somewhere towards I think like the middle of this year, I've shifted and changed in what I feel like I'm ready for. Now I feel like I'm ready to connect with a person at a deeper level. And I have taken a very big step back from like casual dating and casual sex just to feel into myself, and because I do believe that we create if you're going to attract something, then you have to get into the vibration of the thing first within. So I've been focusing a lot on myself and being love with myself and discovering exactly what kind of connection I would love to attract into my life. So I've taken a step back. Anyway, I am not ashamed of any part of that journey because when I was doing my healing, there was a big chunk of time that I was celibate, and there was a good reason for that. And when I was exploring casual sex and not so casual connections because feelings came up with certain people, I was also okay just exploring and understanding. And during that time, like I really got to see a lot of my fears play out, um, and it gave me a really great opportunity to be able to see the places that I needed to heal, to still heal, that weren't so obvious, stuff like that. So I'm very proud of every part of my journey. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about morality and integrity. So when people started calling me a whore, and like literally I had people in my DMs calling me a whore, I I thought about it and I was like, this idea of, because a whore is someone, a woman who generally it's, used for a woman whose sexual behavior is immoral. I think that's the official definition of a whore. And I started thinking about like morality. Is that something that I value? Because it's very true considering the standards that we have in society today. Like it's changing, but still there's a lot of judgment around women being sexually open and free. And so my behavior, although to me I'm just literally just being a person, like I'm just living my human life authentically, according to society standards, I am an immoral person. And I started thinking about it because morality to me feels like a very external thing, like it's rules that are agreed upon, or like a code of conduct that's agreed upon by society, that this is how good people behave. And if you don't fit into that mold, then you're considered an immoral person, or you're judged sometimes very harshly with really like strong reactions or consequences. And what I've noticed, especially in our culture as well, like in Kenya, our culture, is that these, like this code of conduct that society has, is also, it's very interesting how it's perceived, because as long as you present a front of being a moral person in most things, you can do things like on the side or undercover that are not aligned with this moral code, but as long as, and people might even know about this, but as long as it's not that you're presenting it publicly, like this is who I am, then guys won't, you'll still be passable in like the moral code, For me, which is so fascinating because I believe, even just for my peace of mind, it's never really about what people will think of me. There was a time that I did used to perform the moral thing especially when I was a Christian. I had this like facade of Christianity that I would wear when I'd go to church and be this girl who's like so godly, but then I'm doing things that I'm being told that are not good for me, or that I shouldn't be doing behind, like undercover. Like I'd be going out on Saturday, clubbing and drinking and whatever, and come to church on Sunday and act like I'm this good Christian girl who doesn't do any of these things. And we were so many of us who were doing that. It's so fascinating to me because I feel like if you're performing morality, at some point it starts to tug at you. And that's exactly what happened with me. It's like I got to the place where I couldn't pretend anymore. Sorry. There was an open door, I'm sorry. So I got to the place where I couldn't pretend anymore. It's like one, it felt like I was 1 foot here, 1 foot there. And I was straddling these two worlds, and I couldn't do it anymore. I was tearing myself apart. So it was like, okay, which part of me feels more authentic? And for me, it was the sinner, that felt more authentic to me, more than this, facade. So what I have learned to appreciate more than being a moral person, because again, as I said, that to me feels like it can get to a performance type of thing. I prefer to be someone who has integrity. And I've realized that for me is so much easier, and it feels so much better. And I don't have to pretend. And literally, I am the same person whether I am in a group with my family or I'm in the house by myself. There's no difference there's no difference. The person who I speak as online is who I am. And even if I'm sitting with my really saved relatives, or if I'm, in a corporate setting, or I am the same person. Of course, there's like a time for everything. So I won't go like cussing when I'm in front of, although sometimes I do. But like, you get what I mean. Like, of course there's context, but generally like I have the same values through and through. And that's because integrity, I feel like, is a better, more powerful place to come from, because it's like your moral, you develop your own moral code based on your own inner truth and your principles. So integrity for me feels like a very internal process that's authentically you, so that it's not a thing that you wear before you leave the house to perform in front of people. It's who you are wherever you go. So it doesn't matter. And I feel like that's why also for me, if someone comes and they're like, you know what, you're a whore, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why you would think that, but I don't care. Other people's opinions, they don't matter. Other people's perceptions don't matter. Even if sometimes they may hurt, they still don't shake you to the core of who you are, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so integrity versus morality. I feel like if you are a person of integrity, that's just a more genuine place to come from. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this conversation? And, morality does have its place, but I do believe that we are innately good people. And I know that there are people who disagree with that, but these are just my beliefs. I do believe that we are innately good people because our essence is love. So if we are living in authenticity, if we are living in alignment with our inner truth, then I don't see a world where people would want to harm each other or to infringe on each other's freedoms, because a person who's at peace has no need to create war. When you're at peace with yourself, you just reflect it in your outer world. So I feel like integrity is in alignment with that, whereas morality, this thing that we can sometimes carry on ourselves like a facade to fit in, can have some really not good effects on our peace of mind, our alignment with ourselves, which in turn would mean that which in turn would make us want to control the things around us, which is why I feel like people who are very invested in performing morality are also very invested in people around them performing morality. Like, they're very judgmental. They tend to be very critical of people because it's like this judgment that they have on themselves because of their dissonance. They project it out on people who they feel are living, out in their truth. Like, they project that onto other people and try to control their behavior. So I feel like it's such a better place to come from when you're in integrity, because you have no need to try and control anyone. You're just like, hey, you're busy living your life, you're very aligned with yourself. And though you can recognize those people who are not in alignment with themselves, you don't generally want to come out and try and control their behavior. That's what I think. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Looking forward to hearing from you. Leave a comment below. Please share this video if you want to with anyone who you feel would enjoy it. And yes, follow me on social media if you don't already. I'm not that active on Facebook, but on Twitter, Instagram, Tarure, you'll find me everywhere. Yeah. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will see you in the next video. Please remember, above everybody else, you deserve your own unconditional love and acceptance. Bye bye.